Hello aspirants, looking at current affairs for 2nd Feb, the budget was announced, so it covers the entire budget. So the news items picked up are around 24. We'll discuss them in detail. The first one, budget focuses on the rural sector. So Finance Minister Mr. Arun Jaitley has announced the budget and the focus is on farmers, rural India, healthcare and education for the poor. So here, for agriculture too, the minimum support price has been offered of at least 1.5 times the expenses borne by the farmers for all crops. So this has been announced. The details of this will be coming later. So this is one announcement for agriculture. Then even on taxation, the long-term capital gains tax on equity shares has been reintroduced. So this long-term capital gains tax is a tax which is imposed for long-term capital gains. Long-term here is basically what the government has announced is more than 1 year. So when equity shares are held for more than 1 year, then capital gains tax will be imposed at the rate of 10% for all gains, and this is capital gains means a huge amount in bulk. So this is for over rupees 1 lakh. So this was earlier there too. Now it has, and it was revoked. Now it has been reintroduced. Plus the securities transaction tax which is there, applicable for all security transactions. This will also continue. So this is there. For salaried class, there has been the reintroduction of flat 40% deduction from taxable income. So whatever taxes you have to pay, 40% will be deducted from it. You will not have to pay 40,000 as tax. So this deduction is because of tax exemptions for transport and medical allowances, which is to be provided. So this is a relief for salaried class as such too, because it says that individual business persons pay less average tax than salaried class. This is there. Then another cess which has been introduced is actually the education cess has been increased to 4%. So it is for education and healthcare 3%. Means it was earlier 2%. Now it has become 3% education cess. So the total cess 1% is for healthcare. So there is 4% education and healthcare cess applicable now. So this is also there. Then the custom duties on number of products including mobile phones, wearable devices, furniture, TV, etc. has also been increased. So the idea is custom duties is increased means the imports become costly. So the idea is that the local market or the national producers with the domestic producers start producing these commodities. But till that time the consumers will have to pay higher money for these because of the custom duty imposed on imports. Then excise duty also, the excise duty on petrol and diesel has been high, as has been made a point quite often, because now international prices are also increasing. So excise duty actually has been reduced by 8 rupees. So the 8 rupees reduction has been done on excise duty on petrol and diesel, but then at the same time there has been a cess introduced. So this cess is a new road and infrastructure cess of rupees 8 per litre. So this 8 has been reduced and 8 has been levied here, and this has been levied for funding infrastructure projects. But excise duty, you should know, excise duty is actually required to be shared by the center with the states. And as per the Finance Commission's recommendations, it is 42% of this should be shared with the states. So central government only gets 58% of it. But if it is a cess, then entire amount stays with the government and it can be used only for the stated purpose. That is, as this is an infrastructure cess, it will be used for that. Also, another point is that the fiscal deficit target has been overshot. So the fiscal deficit for this year, the target was 3.2% of GDP, but it is likely to touch 3.5%. And the reason given by the government for that is GST related issues. Because 11-month GST will come forth. The last month, March, GST would come in April. So this is the reason being given by the government. And the fiscal deficit target for next year, 2019-20, has been put at 3.3%. The target actually is to bring it to 3% by 2021 and not by 2019-20. So the fiscal deficit target has also been extended. So this is there. This is regarding the securities. This is regarding the long-term capital gains tax. So tax on shares held for more than 12 months. The industry players say that at least it should be long-term should mean at least 2 to 3 years. But the government has kept it at 1 year. And securities transaction tax is tax on all transactions done on stock exchange. So this was introduced in 2004, and these are the various rates for security transactions based on purchase sale of securities. The next is long-term capital gains makes a comeback. So this long-term capital gains tax that we just discussed. So this is for long-term, means you are holding it for more than a year, and capital gain means if the amount is exceeding rupees 1 lakh. So whenever there is any such selling of shares taking place held for more than 12 months, a 10% LTCG tax would apply. So this is without the benefit of indexation. What does this mean is, indexation is actually adjusting to inflation. So there will be no adjusting. The gains against inflation will also not take place. Because if you adjust it to inflation, then the real gains come down. Then the idea is that it was there in 2004-5 actually. So the government had abolished this and replaced it with securities transaction tax. So securities transaction tax was introduced in 2004-5, replacing or after LTCG was abolished. But now LTCG has come back and securities transaction tax also stays. So many feel this is a case of double taxation, that both LTCG and STT would apply. But then the Finance Secretary has explained that the purpose of securities transaction tax is different. It only helps the government in keeping a track on equity transactions, and there is no windfall revenue collection. As you can see, the rates were quite low. So this is there. And this is the stock market's response to this announcement shown. The next is mutual fund dividends now taxable at 10%. Now the government has also proposed a 10% tax on dividends which are given out by equity oriented mutual funds. So here also this is also on an equity investment tax. So mutual funds will have to pay this tax. So this is a dividend distribution tax. So this means when the dividend is paid by the mutual funds, they'll have to make this 10% tax payment as well. So this is announced by the government so that mis-selling of balanced funds is not taking place by the mutual funds. So the monthly dividend is declared by the mutual funds, and they actually have a balanced fund size which is more than the average equity large capital fund as such which they have. So that is why the government has announced this 10% tax on dividends. So here you can see the dividend distribution tax is explained. So a domestic company means a dividend distribution tax in general is whenever a company is paying dividend, it has to pay this tax. So it's presently for the equity oriented mutual funds, it is 10%. Then next is Gift City gets unified regulator. So this is regarding Gift City. That is India's first IFSC, means International Finance Service Center in Gujarat. So it has received a major boost in the budget. The finance minister has announced a unified regulator for this special finance zone. So there will be tax benefits for non-resident and non-corporate entities working here as well. So various government agencies basically and regulators are having an oversight over it, but now the government has announced a unified regulator. Presently it is the RBI, SEBI, which are having oversight over entities operating in this zone. But there has been a demand to have a unified regulator so that single window clearance and ease of doing business is ensured. So now transactions done on exchanges based in Gift City would also be exempted from short-term and long-term capital gains tax, has also been announced by the finance minister in the budget. So this is the non-corporate taxpayers will be charged an alternate minimum tax. This is at a concessional rate of 9%. So this minimum alternate tax as such will be there on them, like minimum alternate taxes for corporates. So non-corporate taxpayers will also have this alternate minimum tax. So this is the detail. You can see here the Gift City. Then this GIFT actually stands for Gujarat International Finance Tech City. So it's the India's first SEZ for global financial services. It's special finance zone. So these are the details. It's 12 km from Ahmedabad Airport Station. Then next is Budget gives a big push to MSMEs. So the central government has allotted 3,794 crore for MSMEs, medium, small and micro enterprises. So they'll get credit support, capital and interest subsidy as such. So the NPAs and stressed assets which are there with MSMEs, they can also, this issue can also be addressed. Also the benefit of lower corporate tax rate. The corporate tax rate of 25% will now be applicable to all companies which have a turnover up to rupees 250 crore. So 99% of the companies are having such low turnover. So all MSMEs would be benefited because of this. So this is there. Also, the finance minister said there is a massive formalization of businesses of MSMEs which is taking place under GST. So GST and demonetization has resulted in formalization of the sector has also been claimed. Then another one is regarding Mudra. So the target of 3 lakh crore for lending under Mudra has been announced. So Mudra is Micro Units Development and Refinance Agency. So the Mudra scheme and the Mudra Bank, which works for refinancing the MSMEs, has been given a higher target for lending now to MSMEs. Also TREDS, which is Trade Electronic Receivable Discounting System. So this is also being proposed to be linked to GST network. So even RBI said the objective of TREDS is to facilitate financing of invoice bills of MSMEs drawn on corporate buyers by way of discounting of finances. So what is this TREDS? We'll see here. You can see the Mudra Bank is also detailed out. So it refinances microfinance institutions which are lending to small entities. So this is Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, priority given to SC/ST enterprises. TREDS, here you can see, to improve the liquidity of MSMEs, here what has been announced is Trade Receivables Discounting System. So it is an electronic platform for facilitating financing of trade receivables of MSMEs. So this is there. So it's an online platform for payment. Then next is old is gold in young India. So this is what the budget also brings forth, that the senior citizens have been benefited. The ease of cash flow for senior citizens who are largely dependent on interest income has been ensured. So there's the exemption limit on interest income on banks and post office deposits has been raised from 10,000 to rupees 50,000 a year. So if you're getting up to 50,000 as interest in a year, there'll be no income, no taxation on that. The exemption has been increased. Also TDS will not be required to be deducted. No TDS also. So even deduction available for health insurance premium and medical expenditure has been increased to 50,000. So this much deductions from taxable income is also allowed. So this is easing or reducing taxation burden of senior citizens, especially who depend on this interest income and have high health insurance premiums too. Also deduction for medical expenditures have been hiked for senior citizens. They hiked to rupees 1 lakh. So this is there. Also the Pradhan Mantri Vaya Vandana Yojana, which is there for senior citizens, has been extended up to March 2020. It assures an 8% return. So here you can see investment cap has also been raised to 15 lakh from 7.5 lakh. So this Pradhan Mantri Vaya Vandana Yojana is a pension scheme for senior citizens age 60 and above, and it has an assured return of 8% per annum payable monthly for 10 years. It is exempted from service tax, GST. Loans are of up to 75% of purchase price allowed after 3 policy years. And also premature exit for treatment is also allowed. So here the extension of this scheme has been done up to March 2020 and investment cap has been raised. Then next is fiscal glide path pushed back to 2021. So as we discussed in the first news too, the fiscal deficit target of 3.2% has been missed, and also the target for next year has been put at 3.3% instead of 3%. So the target has been pushed to 2020. So this is the news, and reason is that the revenue for under GST received is for 11 months, not for 12 months. The March month revenue will come in the month of April. So this is the reason given by the government for missing the fiscal deficit target of 3.2%. It will go up to 3.5% of GDP, the fiscal deficit for present year, and next year's target has been kept at 3.3% instead of 3%. So a key recommendation of Fiscal Reform and Budget Management Committee has been accepted, and this is regarding the adoption of debt rule to bring down central government's debt to GDP ratio to 40%. So it was this N.K. Singh committee which was appointed, which made recommendations about how the government should come back to fiscal deficit part, because the fiscal deficit plan which was there had gone haywire because of the global financial crisis. So some of his key recommendations of this body are detailed out here. So what 40% threshold for center is what the government says is that rule of debt to GDP ratio has been accepted in the budget speech by the finance minister. So here you can see these are the targets set as such too. So financial year 2020-21 had a target of 3%. Then next is mega insurance firm in offing. So the proposed merger of 3 general insurers to create a mega insurance company in the public sector domain has also been announced. So this was a plan doing rounds for long. So there are 4 public sector insurance companies: New India Insurance, National Insurance, Oriental Insurance, and United India Insurance, out of which these 3 would be now merged. So this has been announced. So this merger has been announced of these PSUs because it will eliminate competition between them, also reduce marketing expenses, and the cost efficiencies would increase. So they can streamline their processes and systems too. Here are the details of these 3 insurance PSUs, general insurance companies, are also detailed out. Then next is from farm to fork, a shower of goodies. So the MSP which has been announced has been spoken of here. So minimum support price for all unannounced crops of Kharif presently will be at least 1.5 times their production cost. So Niti Aayog, in consultation with the center and state governments, will put up a foolproof mechanism so that this can be put into effect. So the details have not been provided. Another proposal for the farm sector is Operation Greens. So this is to address the price volatility of perishable commodities such as potatoes, tomatoes, and onions. So this Operation Greens has been announced, which will promote farmer producers organization, agri-logistics, processing facilities, and professional management in the sector. So they would get 100% deduction in respect of profits. So this 100% deduction means they'll have complete profits they can keep with themselves. So if having a turnover, these bodies which are having a turnover up to ₹100 crore, produce organizations, logistics, and processing facilities. So this is there for a period of 5 years from present financial year 2018-19. So this is there. So this idea here is to encourage professionalism in post-harvest value addition in agriculture. Also, women SHGs would be encouraged to take up organic farming under National Rural Livelihood Mission has also been announced. Also, there is support for organized cultivation of highly specialized medicinal and aromatic plants, which has been announced. Also, upgradation of Gramin agricultural markets has been announced. E-NAM will be strengthened further, that is National Agriculture Market. So, the coverage of E-NAM will also be extended to 585 APMCs. This has been announced. So APMCs are Agriculture Produce Market Committees. So E-NAM will actually is set to give freedom to farmers to bring their farm produce to any agricultural produce market committees. So they'll get good prices as such too. So it's an online platform as the e-trading platform as such. Then Agri Infrastructure Fund has been announced with a corpus of 2,000 crore. So this will develop and upgrade agricultural marketing infrastructure. So apart from agriculture E-NAM, also Gramin agricultural markets are being promoted, because it says that more than 86% farmers are small and marginal and they cannot always transact directly to APMCs or other wholesale markets. So that is why these Gramin agricultural markets would also be developed and upgraded. Then doubling of allocation for food processing ministry has been announced. So even establishment of specialized agro processing financial institutions and state-of-the-art testing facilities in all mega food parks has also been announced. The Kisan Credit Card Scheme has been extended to, which is there for small and marginal farmers, has been extended to such farmers in fisheries and animal husbandry sector also. So they will also get the this credit facility under this scheme. Also, a fund, development fund for fisheries and aquaculture, development fund for animal husbandry has been announced. Also, the National Bamboo Mission, restructured National Bamboo Mission has been announced for cluster-based approach to address the complete bamboo value chain and promote bamboo sector in a holistic manner. Also, regarding pollution, as we see, there is a need for providing machinery for crop residue, which is generally burned by these northern states, and the pollution, air pollution in Delhi NCR comes up in news often. So, governments of Haryana, Punjab, UP and NCT of Delhi will be given subsidy, provided, supported for providing subsidized machinery for in situ management of crop residue. So, this is Operation Greens, which is detailed out to promote farmer producers organizations, agri-logistics. This is regarding the ENAM, Electronic National Agriculture Market. So it connects all APMC mandis. So the target is to connect all of them, and it will benefit as such the farmers because they can sell in any mandi of their choice. They are free from local cartels of traders that depress prices, that reduce prices for them. Also, it facilitates for them to discover the best price, and it's a complete transparent sales process. But of course, then many farmers are small and marginal. They don't have access to ENAM, is another matter. And then you need a license for a trader. So this one license under ENAM is valid across all the markets in the state. So it's a liberal licensing system for traders and buyers also in agricultural markets. And this is regarding the Mega Food Park scheme. So the Mega Food Park is here. They're having primary procurement centers which collect from individual farmers, farmer groups or self-help groups. So the farm produce is collected at these primary processing centers where pre-cooling, grading, pulping, etc. takes place, and temporary storage is also there. And finally, it goes to the central processing center where the entire cold storage, etc. quality check labs are available, and then it goes for domestic retail. And of course, there is value addition also done, which goes for import, which goes for exporters also. Import exporter are connected through this, and even it goes for domestic sales. Then next is Ayushman Bharat, a big budget scheme. So this is regarding the Ayushman Bharat program, which has been announced by the finance minister in the budget, which is for healthcare sector. So Ayushman Bharat is actually having two schemes under it. One is National Health Protection Scheme. So you can see part of these two are part of this National Health Protection Scheme, which will cover 10 crore poor and vulnerable families. And this health protection will be coverage of up to 5 lakh a family a year for secondary and tertiary healthcare hospitalization. So this is there. And another one is setting up of health and wellness centers. So these will be for non-communicable diseases, maternal, child health services, etc. Also free essential drugs, diagnostic services will be provided at these centers. So both of these schemes are being promoted. There is already an existing Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana where poor families get an annual coverage of Rs 30,000. Then another one is also regarding other yojanas which the government has for poor households, including SC/STs. This is Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana. So these are health insurance schemes. Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana. So these are also there. So this is in the healthcare sector. You can see Swasthya Bima, all these schemes are for health insurance, and National Health Protection Scheme has been announced under Ayushman Bharat along with health and wellness centers. So this is Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana also detailed out, which was rolled out as such for providing health insurance for the poor in India. It provides cashless insurance in hospitals in public as well as private sector. It started with effect from 2008 and has been implemented in around 25 states in the country. Then the National Health Protection Scheme is detailed out. healthcare program, which has been announced in the present budget, which will provide a coverage up to ₹5 lakh. Then next is in education sector, the budget announcement, an initiative to step up research investment. So this is the announcement of a new initiative, revitalizing infrastructure and systems in education. So this will be rolled out by 2022. A total of 1 lakh crore investment over the next 4 years has been announced for it. So it will be for stepping up investments in research and related infrastructure in premier educational institutions in the country. So these are IITs, IIMs, and also IITs. So here, state-of-the-art laboratories, especially such institutional infrastructure, will be boosted. So here it is Higher Education Finance Agency, which will be suitably structured for funding this initiative. DICE. So this is there. So institution has, Higher Education Financing Agency is already functioning. It provides funding for such premier institutions. So an institution can claim for a project 10 times the sum it escrows in the first year. So it has put in a fund, an amount. Say if it puts in 10 crores in the first year, it can get an approval for a 100 crore project, and this will go on. They will have to pay 10 crores every year up to 10 years. Principal amount is paid by them. The interest is taken care of by this financing agency. So this is there. This is there. Then another announcement for education is Prime Minister's Research Fellow Scheme. So this will be providing fellowship to 1,000 BTech students to pursue PhDs in IITs and IIS. So these are there. Then next is education for tribals. So here the announcement is of Eklavya Residential School scheme being promoted on a larger scale. It is already a scheme in place, but now the government wants to expand its scope, that residential schools will be there in each block of the country where tribal people constitute a majority of the population. So these residential schools will be established. So every block with more than 50% ST population, or at least 20,000 tribal persons. By 2022, each one will have this Eklavya model residential school. So this will be on par with Navodaya Vidyalayas and also have state-of-the-art facilities for preserving local art and culture. Also provide training in sports, skill development, etc. And the finance minister also announced that they will treat education holistically without segmentation from pre-primary to class 12 for these schools. You should know about Navodaya Vidyalayas too. So these are established by the government, which follow the CBSE syllabus, and they select the talented students, which seats reserved for rural population up to 75%, urban up to 25%. Even reservation for girls is of up to 33%. So this is provided, free education is provided to these talented students irrespective of their background. Then next is Booster for Digital India scheme. So the finance minister has proposed to double the expenditure under the Digital India program of the government. So here cutting edge technologies like Internet of Things, 3D printing, machine learning, artificial intelligence would be developed, and also electronics manufacturing is being proposed to be promoted. There is allocation for that too. E-governance services, for them allocation is there. Also digital literacy programs have been allocated an amount here, and also development of manpower in digital technologies. Also government proposed to set up 5 lakh Wi-Fi hotspots which will be provided broadband access, which will provide broadband access to 5 crore rural citizens. So this also proposal has been announced in the budget. Another one is the mission on cyber physical systems, which has been announced. So what is Internet of Things? What is 3D printing? What are cyber physical systems? We'll look at that. Also BharatNet has been strengthened further. What is BharatNet? We'll look at this as well. So the aim of BharatNet, this is a telecom infrastructure project which is aiming to connect 2.5 lakh gram panchayats by 2019. So allocation has been done for this too. The first phase has been completed. 1 lakh gram panchayats have been connected with high-speed optical fiber network, has been announced. Also, some amount in this has been for dedicated optical fiber-based communication network for defense forces because of the airwaves which they have vacated for civilian use. Then also new technologies like 5th generation technologies will also be promoted. A 5G test bed will be established at IIT Chennai for testing 5G technologies. And also on cryptocurrencies, the finance minister announced that cryptocurrencies are not legal tender, and he said that the government will explore the use of blockchain technology, which is the technology behind cryptocurrencies, how it can be proactively used for ushering in digital economy, and that will be explored by the government. Now looking at these terms, so what is Internet of Things? You can see, so it is a network of physical devices. Everything is connected to the internet and they can share information. So this is how various systems work, ATMs work, connected, to the banks and other entities. Also, we have these alarms or washing machines with sensors. So whatever is connected to Wi-Fi, that is called Internet of Things. So this connectivity, wearable devices like watches with mobile, connected with mobile. So all these are called Internet of Things. Even these self-driven cars of Google will also be connected. So this is also part of this idea of Internet of Things. Here the definition is given. It's a network of physical devices, vehicles, buildings embedded with electronics, software, sensors and network connectivity. So they can collect and transmit data via the internet. This is 3D printing explained. So it's a printer. You have the 3D object image, a computer-aided design image made, and that is fed into the printer software, and the printer using the mold, whatever, using the raw material, whatever with which the 3D object has to be made, it makes every slice of it, and that all is fused and the entire object, 3D object, is printed out. So this is called 3D printing. Then this is cyber physical systems being explained. So smart systems that include engineered interacting networks of physical and computational components. So means machine to machine, Internet of Things, all comes under cyber physical systems. Even smart cities, etc. Physical and internet connected together. And this is regarding the BharatNet project for providing broadband connectivity to rural India. And this is regarding cryptocurrencies too. So how blockchain also functions is detailed out here. So a request for transaction comes. The requested transaction is broadcast, people-to-people network, which is a group of computers, a network of computers known as nodes. So then validation takes place. The network of nodes validates this transaction. So all of them validated, and a verified transaction then goes further, and the blockchain is maintained. A new block is added. So every verified transaction is added to the existing blockchain as a new block, and this is permanent and unalterable, and thus the transaction gets completed. So this is used for cryptocurrencies because it's a decentralized system. It's not a government announced currency. So it uses blockchain technology, but blockchain technology is something which can be fruitfully used for other purposes also, digital network purposes. So that blockchain technology should not be discouraged, though the governments across are discouraging cryptocurrencies. The next is allocation for tech upgrades to raise productivity. So this is amended technology upgradation fund for the textile sector, which has been announced. Even a substantial allocation has been done towards rebate of state levies, the state levies rebate which we had discussed earlier. Then even integrated textile park scheme has also been provided funding. So this provides infrastructure facilities for textile units. Also, National Handloom Development Program has been announced. Encouragement of geotextiles has been announced. This also we had discussed earlier. These are textiles which are used in road construction and reservoir projects. They're also known as technical textiles. You should know about these terms. So these are geosynthetics. So these are a class of technical textiles. So generally, there are two varieties. They can be made from synthetics also like polymers, and from natural fibers like jute and coir. So they are used for road construction too, for reservoir projects also, slope stabilization projects, etc. Then next is exports get fillip with interest subsidy. So interest equalization scheme has been given a good outlay for pre and post shipment rupee export credit. So export sector will get interest subsidy. So This is there. Then defense sector, the allocation for the defense sector has seen a modest hike. There is not much hike in the defense sector, excluding pensions. So the defense pensions have for the first time crossed rupees 1 lakh crore mark. So defense allocation accounts for presently 12.1% of central government expenditure. So there is not much capital expenditure for new projects which will be possible. Whatever committed liabilities are there, those have been ensured. So we have already have to make payments for deals like Rafale fighter jets, then the C-130J transport aircrafts. So these are projects which already have been initiated and payments have to be done. Then the Chinook heavy lift helicopters and also M777 ultralight heavy howitzers. So these payments for these, there is money which has been allocated. No new projects for which capital expenditure would be required has been allocated. Though defense pension has seen a huge allocation presently because of OROP, also one rank one pension, which has been announced by the government for the defense sector. Then next is big push for infrastructure growth. So the finance ministry has plans to leverage India Infrastructure Finance Corporation Limited, which helps financing major infrastructure projects. So the Bharatmala Yojana has also been promoted. So this is a program which has been announced for completing national highways exceeding 9,000 kilometers. So this is there. So even interior backward areas will be provided connectivity, borders of the country will be provided connectivity. Also 35,000 kilometer of road would be constructed in phase 1. So this has been announced. So even National Highways Authority of India can consider setting up special purpose vehicles, use innovative monetizing structures has been proposed. They can use poll operate and transfer monetizing structure. Then they can use infrastructure investment funds. So they can also raise bonds from the market as such. So this is Bharatmala Pariyojana also detailed out. It have roads constructed, national corridors. Phase 1, you can see Bharatmala, it plans to cover 9,000 kilometers of intercorridors. Then NHB fund announced. So this is establishment of a dedicated affordable housing fund under National Housing Bank. So this has been announced, means priority sector lending shortfall can be used for this purpose, affordable housing fund. So also under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, the target is to ensure housing for all by 2022. So that also got an allocation. So this is the target, the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Housing for all by 2022. So for constructing pakka houses for houseless and households living in dilapidated houses. Then boost for urban rejuvenation mission. So this is regarding Atal mission. The two prominent missions for urban India, urban housing is Atal mission for rejuvenation and urban transformation, urban infrastructure. So this is for water supply, sewage work, etc. is covered under this. So there are around more than 482 cities which have been more than 500, actually 500 cities under Atal mission and Smart Cities mission, which is to develop 100 smart cities. So these two have also been given allocation. You can see Amrut is for 500 cities and this is for 100 smart cities. So Atal mission is also detailed out here, which was launched in 2015. So in basic infrastructure, Atal mission for rejuvenation and urban transformation. So basic infrastructure in urban areas like water supply, sewerage to all urban households, stormwater drains, urban transport has been focused in this mission. And 500 cities have been selected under it. And next is highest ever allocation to fast forward railway plans. So there is a high allocation for railway sector too. A capital expenditure of 1,48,528 crores for railway ministry has been announced. So doubling of tracks, about double of 18,000 kilometers of tracks would be done. Means there will be third and fourth lines which will be worked on. Then electrification. Commissioning of electrification of around 4,000 kilometers of railway network will take place. Acquisition of wagons, coaches, locomotives has been proposed. Eastern and western dedicated freight corridors will be completed. Also suburban, Mumbai suburban network sees a mention. Even Bangalore suburban network has been given allocation. So this is regarding rail infrastructure. So electrification will further be increased. Doubling of tracks. Then next is Jaitley gives MPs a salary raise. So the union government has been announced. So MPs want a salary rise. They wanted a salary rise from 50,000 to at least 1 lakh. We had discussed this, that cabinet secretaries' salary is 1 lakh per month. So they were discussing a salary rise. And there has been criticism that MPs themselves pass bills to increase their own salaries. So as a solution to this, Finance Minister in the present budget has announced that salaries of MPs would be upgraded automatically. So there will be automatic revision every 5 years to the salaries of MPs by indexing it to inflation. So salaries of President and Vice President has been increased to 5 lakh and 4 lakh a month respectively now. And also Governor's salary has been revised, will be revised, has been announced. It was last revised in 2006. MPs which have a present basic salary of 1 lakh will now, of 50,000 will now receive 1 lakh. Also constituency allowance, secretarial cost has been increased. So these allowances have also been increased for MPs now. So this is a major announcement. Then next is Nepal gets a high 650 crore outlay. So India's annual financial allocation for neighboring states of the country, neighboring countries of India, maximum allocation goes to Bhutan. So Bhutan will be the largest recipient of this allocation even this year, but Nepal saw a substantial increase in its allocation. It has been nearly doubled. So this is there. Myanmar has also seen an improvement in allocation for it. Also, there is allocation for ICCR, Indian Council of Cultural Relations, which is the cultural arm of Ministry of External Affairs. An allocation for South Asia University, which is the SARC University, and Nalanda University. Also, there is no allocation this year for Hajj, as the policy has changed now, that no Hajj subsidy would be provided. So this is regarding South Asia University too, international university which focuses on postgraduate teaching and research, established and funded by 8 SARC countries. It's located in New Delhi, South Asian University. And this is regarding Nalanda. Nalanda was actually the first residential international university of the world, founded in 5th century AD by the Gupta Empire. So even contributions by later kings like King Harshvardhan, etc. also came. It became a center of Buddhism learning in India and the world too. And this Nalanda University in Bihar, Nalanda, has been proposed to be renewed as such too, and September 2014 saw the commencement of the first academic year of this modern Nalanda University, which is again in Bihar near Rajgir. So allocation has been done for this too. Then next is Center puts on hold e-way bill. So the e-way bill implementation was to take place, but there are technological glitches as such faced by businesses and transporters. So that is why the government has deferred the implementation of the e-way bill system. New date has not been announced till now, that when will it commence again as such. So under e-way bill, actually all consignments worth over rupees 50,000 moving over 10 kilometers from their point of origin will require prior registration and generation of e-way bill. We have discussed this quite often. A e-way bill number is generated, which is shared between seller, buyer and the transporter through the GST network. So it helps authorities keeping track of all taxable goods and detect potential tax evasion. But because of technological glitches, its implementation has been delayed for now. So this is there regarding e-way bills, which we have discussed quite often. And the last news item is 5 unreported mass graves found in Myanmar's Rakhine. So face of half-buried men and in the mass graves have been found. So 5 previously unreported mass graves have been confirmed by the Associated Press. So this is through multiple interviews of people from Rakhine, Myanmar refugees in Bangladesh refugee camps. So though there are time-stamped cell phone videos which have been used, interviews based on which it has been said. Myanmar government has regularly claimed that the massacres have never happened, though they have acknowledged only 1 mass grave containing 10 terrorists. So now it has been, further news comes forth that there have been military slaughter of civilians, what looks like genocide. trying to eliminate one complete community. So this is the newest piece of evidence of genocide taking place in Myanmar's Rakhine state against the Rohingyas. So these are the news items. Thank you.